This new chapbook published by ARC is called 30 Poems in 30 Days, a sketchbook, and it's the product of a rather crazy thing that I did in 2020 of literally writing a poem a day for the whole of April. So each of the poems is just titled by the day, and I'll give a brief introduction to the prompts that we were given, because this is part of something called NaPoWriMo, National Poetry Writing Month, where each day you're given a prompt and asked to have a go at writing in response to it. So this sketchbook is the unedited results of my month of crazy writing.
Okay.
Day 8. This was to take a line of poetry, and this is a line from Sylvia Plath's The Colossus. Nights I squat in the cornucopia of your left ear out of the wind. I hesitate to tell you, but for years I have been sheltering in your ear at night, mostly quiet, curled between the almost silent creak of tomatoes ripening, your tired breath, the owl's occasional screech. But sometimes you have heard me as rain on the roof, or an echo of the words that swim inside your head, keep you from sleep. I apologise. I was the roar at 3 a.m. that had you going down with a torch and knife. I was the squeak you thought was the old shed door. Don't be alarmed. My song will not enchant you. There's no need to tie yourself to the mast to save your life. I have no wings. Don't play the harp. Think of me as a touch of tinnitus that will pass. Still, I can't forget the night when half awake you pressed your fingers to your ear. Was it a minor itch, an ache? Or did you know that I was there? You touched me, and something whispered in the dark. Did you hear? This is from day 27, and we were asked to write a review of something that isn't normally reviewed. And I took a quote from the great writer Rebecca Solnit that was, "The moon is profound except when we land on it." And I decided to review the moon. Up close, the moon reminds me of that street that broke my axle with its potholes. Quakes and craters, always dark, and even the ocean called fertility is dry and bleak. Remember when those astronauts came back, they said it was the view of Earth that made them weep. Its beauty, its fragility, not the atmosphereless, empty moon. Okay, I know the poems and songs, I know the pull and tug of moon, its hold on time, its charming face, its guiding light, its power. I've given them my heart. But, dear readers, up close, I only give the moon 1 star. Like love, it can look better from afar. This is day 16, and it was to write a poem of love or praise for a thing that you adore in the most effusive way that you can. I'm not going to say what it was that I was loving, but I think it reveals itself in the poem. Day 16. You're my beefsteak, cherry, cocktail, plum, my golden glow, my San Marzano, Jersey boy, my buffalo. I'll brush you with my lips beneath a mistletoe. I'll bite your flesh, devour your seeds. You'll never know what thrill it is to train your stems, to watch you grow, to pluck you from the vine when you are ripe. Holy Joe. How I love to puree, stuff and roast you slow, but mostly want you naked, raw on the patio on a summer's night, your sweet smell with its undertow of tang. As long as I have you, who needs a gigolo? Berry, fruit or veg, who cares, but please don't go. Tomato. This was day 7 in April. And we were asked to write a poem that was based on an actual news article. I was fortunate enough to have already cut out of a paper this news article. I won't say any more because I think it becomes clear in the poem, but it is a true story. If they had called my name I might have heard myself, but they didn't know my name. Or if we had spread across the high land to search for a heart as active as the Katla volcano, I might have realised. But no one dared to cross the unbridged river. No one would climb the unpredictable slopes. I was Fire Canyon, impassable glacier. I was the fall. We barely spoke on the bus. It was not that kind of tour, and I was glad of it. Those days my own voice sounded nothing much like me. Lost in that fissure that ran through the landscape, I had turned to molten liquid long before. No wonder I changed my clothes at least 3 times a day. I didn't recognise myself. We were looking for a woman in blue when I wore red, looking for a quiet bespectacled spinster when I was roaring, when my optic nerves were all burned out in the heat. If they had only asked, I could have told them. We might have given up the search, discovered me. So this poem was day 1, the very first day of embarking on this 30-day marathon, and it was to write a self-portrait in which your life is presented as a metaphor. Day 1. Some days my life is an astronaut in training. It spins in space, floats underwater, rehearses weightlessness. My life tries not to vomit as it learns how to breathe beyond the appreciable atmosphere. Some days it sits quietly in lessons with the other lives as an ageing man in a pressure suit tries to teach what it means to make sense of planet Earth from afar. On other days my life stays close to home. It is this tiny garden pond we made so long ago that leaks, is mainly mud and rotting leaves and bugs that have died. My life digs it out, lifts stones. It wipes a coat of slime from rubber gloves. This spring the frogs will stay away, and my life understands. Sometimes we have to sacrifice a year for what comes next. And this is the last poem I'm going to read, and it's day 26. Of course, these poems were all written during lockdown. They were also written in the months after my partner had died, and I think both of those things are very much in this last poem. The prompt we were given was we had to fill out a long questionnaire and then to choose our responses to one of the things to write from, and one of them was to write an animal from a myth, and I chose the vegetable lamb of Tartary, which gets explained in the poem. Day 26. Today the garden is turning to beach. Through a winter of neglect its trees have shed their load, and now 1,000 tiny saplings sprout. If I don't pull them up, there'll be a forest here. The sun is heavy, a change in the air, the door to your old shed ajar to let 2 bees escape. And all along the terrace neighbours' houses lie open wide, their children's drawings in the windows, names chalked onto slabs, no other sign of human life. The cats find a disposable glove that I mistook for a clump of bluebells in the hedge. They bring it home, along with a mouse, a crust of bread, a fly. And I wonder, is this how we'll live, if we live at all? Scavenger hunters, doors lying open onto dark, the world returned to trees. I go inside, try to write, but I'm restless. Through the window your old shirt dries on the line, the one that I still wear to wrap you round me. But right now I wish it didn't hold the shape of you. And there's the rocking chair in the shed, the one that scared me every night in the attic when I was a child, and I swore it rocked on its own, the creak of it filling the dark like my grandma's breath the week before she died. I tune the radio, away from politicians and their lies, away from we'll meet again, you'll never walk alone. Find a choir singing something beautiful that might be Bach, and I wish I could cry or laugh. I'm trying to write about the vegetable lamb of Tartary, the myth of a sheep that grew as the fruit of a plant, connected to the stem by an umbilical cord that allowed it to graze nearby. When the greenery within its reach was gone, both plant and sheep would die. Perhaps I wish I could grow a sheep, or perhaps I have, but I didn't mean to grow a sheep that couldn't reach a meadow, couldn't spring in this unseasonal air. I imagine for every beech tree shoot the woolen white of a newborn sprouting, first like cotton grass, and then its bleat, plaintive across the gardens as it searches for milk, for ragged grass, finds a fly, a crust of bread, blue glove in the hedge nearby.